Welcome to the Marketing Intern Spotlight. A marketing intern is a listener who's spreading our message authentically. Hear their story, their passion, and their journey. Enjoy.
Honestly, if you say Lauren or Madison, we'll both respond, and so you'll just be like,
No, this is
No,
I
I
was gonna
got
bring
it.
this
I
out
got
on the
a lot.
podcast. You guys literally made it so easy for dumb guys to figure out what your names are. You have necklaces with the M and the L.
Yeah.
Like, is that that's a bulletproof model?
well, right,
Yeah.
but still, people find a way to mess that up. It's like, also, do I need it right here? They're like, looking at it, which
Are you serious?
initial?
It's like a name tag.
I know.
It's like, come on, give me a break.
People ask us who our name takes. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no, we're not a networking event.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
Hello, my name is.
Yeah, not genuine.
We do show up to like the Lincoln drinks or whatever. I think
Yes.
we've invited you to those
Yes.
in the past.
Yeah.
Those are wild.
Mm-hmm.
We just usually put Backpocket on those.
I don't even
Yeah.
bring them anymore.
Backpocket guys.
Not to brag, a lot of people know us there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sick.
We've grown
Sick.
in that market.
Yeah, that's like our mecca time. Every other month we show up and like the majority of people are like, yeah, Backpocket.
Yeah, we know you guys.
Isn't that like the goal? Like, there you
Yeah,
go. You're all
exactly.
set.
I
Yeah.
think I think
Some-
we're doing it well.
Some people call us Backpack, and we're like, yeah, sure.
You're
we'll
like,
be
okay,
Backpack.
close enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, you're the backpack. I'm like, dude, yeah, I am.
That's
That's
like the-
exactly what I am.
That's like the knockoff brand. That's just
Yeah.
like the generic brand.
Yeah,
of
we're
you
JV.
guys.
Yeah, we're the Kroger brand of podcasting.
We
Oh,
need to
man.
get those shirts though. The
Yeah.
the
We'll
back
get you-
pocket.
yeah,
Yes.
We
They're
have
right
and we have a navy blue one too. We have one left.
We have one left. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fight for it.
we
Yeah.
Need that. But we're not at that level of you guys. We're like, hey, that's the Back Pocket guys. Except one time, our brother was playing a show. Wasn't he playing a show? And somebody was like, that's Impromptu's brother. And
Yeah.
I wanted to get that like tattooed on my body. I'm like, I want that like to go on my gravestone. Like, that's Impromptu's brother.
Yes.
Because someone
Yeah.
knew us. So there we go.
Oh, there have been some really cool back pocket moments, especially in recent days. You guys will love this one.
Yeah.
Some girl found us on like the Discover page of Instagram and then ended up following us. And this was like back in January. And so when we started season 3 in February, she's listened to every single podcast we've had since then.
Wow.
And she really thought when our buddy Mark came on the back end show, she was like, this guy's kind of too cool. So then she found him on Instagram, followed him, liked one of his old posts that was his podcast, then went back and listened to that podcast with our buddy, and then freaking DM'd him, and they went on a date. And
Oh
then,
my god.
yeah, it was wild.
Modern day love.
Modern day love.
Yeah.
Listening
It was
to
like
Backpocket podcast
yeah, it
and
was
finding
like
a connection.
if she
Yeah.
was like testing him out as like a bachelor type thing, you know,
Mhm.
like evaluating if this guy is like, you know, the real deal.
Yeah.
And he is, of course. And so they go on this date, and then they come over to our house. They come over to here like right after, and she introduced herself and tells me that, and I'm like, oh man, she like knows everything about me, so I don't have to like do any intros or anything. Like,
Wow.
she just knew. And then so we showed her the studio, and she was like fangirling. She thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then she sat down and hopped on the mics with us for like an hour. It was hilarious.
So does she run the show or what? Do you guys just
No.
lay back and like, hey, we got this?
You were able to talk to her for a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time we don't really ever record those conversations. We just
Mhm.
get drunk and freaking come up here and just hang out.
Yeah.
Love it.
And random people that have never seen or been on a podcast or whatever just come in here and hop in the studio. That's honestly like the more fun time because you can still hear yourself talk. It feels like the podcast.
It's
Turn the
happening.
light on for effects.
Oh
but
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever record anything. It's
Yeah.
just fun.
Yeah, we've recorded a few, and those,
Are we recording
those
right
won't be released.
Yeah.
We're live, Ty?
we're live.
Awesome.
Okay. Now we're actually live on it.
We're
Okay.
live.
Okay, here we go.
Lauren and Madison,
Mm-hmm.
we need to, right off the bat, make sure that our listeners know who's who.
Okay.
And I'm curious if you have a vocal cue for our listeners
Mm-hmm.
that's like, this is Lauren every time, and this is Madison.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that in your voices right now?
Oh my God, that is such a brilliant thing to bring up. I've
Yeah.
never thought about that. People always just say, I can tell your voices apart. I'm like, cool, like, how? You know, because I don't really, well, I mean, I hear myself talk. and
Well,
I know
you
what
kind
I
of
say.
have a raspier voice. I
Yeah.
feel like I
Yep.
may have a deeper voice. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know.
You
either.
tell us. Like, do we sound different?
I had one
Yeah.
Yeah.
right away.
Okay.
Right away when I started listening to you guys, Lauren, you sit farther away from the mic,
Yes.
and so I'm like, all right, that's Lauren talking because it's not the pickup isn't as clear, and then I know when Madison's talking because it's a little closer. That's how I pick it up, not
Yeah.
by like the actual tone of your voices, but
Yeah.
just by kind of
And
like
then
the
like
distance.
Lauren will say something or bring up some sort of topic about Madison, and then Madison will jump in on the mic, and you can like physically hear her like jump into the
Lurch.
mic.
Yes.
So then you know, okay, that's Madison. She's getting stoked about like going to a wedding or something.
Oh yeah, and meanwhile, like Lauren pauses. She's like, "Get away from the mic." How many times have we talked?
She's like screaming in the mic. I'm like, back up,
Yeah.
please.
yeah.
But we need this setup. We need to have you guys help us make something like this because we used to have our mics on a little like pedestal, and then we felt like we were so far, it's too close. So then we started holding them so we
Yeah.
could kind of like chill on our couch, like lean back,
Mm-hmm.
so we could be more comfy. But I don't think it sounds as good now. Now it
Yeah.
sounds like trash.
We need help, especially
Yeah.
with the P's. Like that is such a harsh thing
Mhm.
to hear, but. And it's always me. I'm guilty of it because I get so excited to start like screaming in the
Screaming,
microphone.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I am too. But
Yeah.
we learned. We kind of. I mean, not to brag. We trained ourselves not to say our P's and B's.
Yeah, kind of like subconsciously
Yeah.
not overextend when you do the P's. It's like
Mhm.
you kind of like lean back from the mic a little
You
bit.
have to like
Yeah.
play around with it.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you guys have a technique down. I love
Yeah.
it. Very important.
But you guys are the Impromptwo Podcast,
Yes.
and
The
you
impromptu
guys-
girls.
Yes.
Impromptu Girls, and you guys have been doing it now for 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, there we go. See who could tell who is who in
Yeah.
that. We do that a lot. We say
Yeah.
at the same time. But yeah, we've been doing it since like what, February, March?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's been fun so far.
I've had
Dang.
18 episodes.
Yeah.
So-
Recording 19 tomorrow.
Nice.
Yes.
Every
Nice.
Sunday.
Every
Yes,
Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, then
Yeah.
you give yourself a day to produce it, put it out
Yeah.
on Tuesday.
Mondays are always a challenge. It's tough in the Lindorf household at that day. Sometimes we're like, we need to edit it now and like put this out. So,
Yeah.
Who does the editing?
Madison.
I do.
Full
Yeah.
credit to Madison because that's so hard. I remember one time you asked me, you're like, can you just do a couple minutes of editing? She had to go and like run an errand or something. I'm like, absolutely. Like, I got this. I got on there and I'm doing it. Things are fine. And all of a sudden she came back and listened to it. And all like the volumes were way
Yeah.
off. It would go mute and then it would go super loud. And I'm like, I have no idea what I was doing. Like,
Sometimes
at
she,
all.
like, deleted sections. I'm like, what did we do here? Like, I left for 3 minutes. It was terrible.
so I can't be trusted.
No.
Editing.
You're a
So it's-
liability.
I'm a liability. I sit there for support. I'm like, I'm here for you. I will like do what I can, but I
Yeah.
can't.
So keep Lauren away from all of your technology over here.
You're more just like the face of the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like running the.
I do the Insta.
I do the
Lauren
Instagram.
does the Instagram.
Your
It's a
Instagrams
very
are good. You guys have some sweet engagement on your Instagram.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I love what you
It's-
guys are doing.
That is all Lauren. Like, she's just
Good.
like, hey, does this look okay? I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
So
Whatever.
you're like the creativity, and you're the audio engineer. Give
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
that title.
Yeah,
I'm an audio engineer.
And
Yeah.
you are.
You
Yeah.
should tell everybody you're an engineer.
Yeah, basically.
How did you fall into that role? Did you just do it the first
You
time
had-
and
you
then
had
it
the
was your
I
role?
it was my computer we were using, and then so all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it just became my duty. And now my like, what is that? Hard drive is full, and now I'm deleting pictures. I'm deleting parts of my life.
She
for this
deleted
podcast
pictures from our 2007 cruise with our family. I'm like, that you should save somewhere. Actually, who needs those pictures?
I don't know.
They're
You
probably
never
better
know
not.
when you're gonna need that like one screenshot that you took from that group chat you had. It's like that's gonna go. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Oh
hard.
no.
I did
I
the
know.
same. I fell into the same thing. I was the person with the Mac, and I
Yeah.
just so happened to record the first time, and now I've been doing the audio ever since.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah.
We have this connection now.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys understand each other.
And
We-
guess
we
who
don't.
runs the social media for Backpocket? I pretty much started
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Hilarious.
And now I'm obsessed. Like not obsessed with
Yeah,
it, but
you are.
like
You're obsessed,
I'm
dude.
pretty.
yeah.
I'm pretty balls deep in it.
Well,
Yeah.
your guys is great too. Like we
Yeah.
love it. Like it's fun.
Oh,
to
you guys
connect
love
with you
it?
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh my
I
gosh.
need some feedback.
Well, we're always like posting back and forth with each other. Like you guys post a story and then we'll post it back, and then it's like, should we just keep adding it to each other's stories?
Let's
Like,
just
that-
continue to collaborate. Yeah. No, this is smart,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That's so funny that you guys literally have the same dynamic
Yeah.
in terms like you're the audio engineer, you're the
Yeah.
marketer.
Mhm.
Literally, that's us. Like that's exactly how we started.
Mhm.
Do you guys ever
Crazy.
get in fights?
Oh
about
yeah,
it?
we wrestled last night in the war room.
Yeah.
Who won?
Yeah.
Andrew did.
Yeah.
Nice.
Andrew won. Yeah.
Very-
Way to
yeah.
go,
It was
Andrew.
it was a long one though. It got drawn out way
It-
too long.
It got drawn out way too long, and it was definitely
sweating.
Yeah, we were sweating, and
yeah.
Andrew called me some names, and I think that's what turned it into a different beast
Yeah.
of conversation.
Okay.
But we figured it out.
Yeah, we learn from our mistakes. Those are the times when we actually get everything out, and
Right.
then we can
Yes.
go. We can grow from there.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. You need to like bust it all out, get it out there, and then like have no resentment. If you like hold everything back, that's when
Yeah.
it gets like so
Well,
bad.
and you know,
Yes.
like the fight
Yeah.
is like to a different level when you start sweating. Like,
Oh,
it's like I seriously feel like that's like a different level.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
this isn't a joke anymore. Like
Yeah.
now we're in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lauren and I have been guilty
Oh
of
yeah.
doing the same thing. I accidentally punched her in the face once.
Whoa.
Our senior year of high school.
Okay, that wasn't on accident. It was real.
on
And you
accident.
guys, I did have a
Was it
black
like a
eye.
backhand type punch or
I
open
don't-
hand?
It was like
Yeah.
you
Back.
had the intentions of like punching me in the face, but then once you actually punched me, you felt really bad, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I didn't mean to do it." You guys, I had a black eye. I had to go to MAC, like the makeup counter at the mall, and I was like, I have purple under my eye, and so they put like orange makeup because that's what covers.
Yeah, it
Mm.
It
level
was bad.
sets.
We were in
Gotcha.
high school. Like I told everybody, I think I like hit a door.
I
I
don't
don't even know what I said because
Black eye excuses are really tough.
they're so tough. Because like you got hit in the face. Like it's degrading. It's like yeah, you can all see that
It's
somebody
like
smacked
clearly
them.
you got fucked up and we don't know how, like where it
Yeah.
came from.
And they're
Yeah.
like
People
yeah.
start asking like serious questions because if you have to address it, otherwise people are like, holy shit, dude, she got the shit beat out of her.
Yeah.
Like this is bad. Like it could be like more emotional than it is.
Yeah.
So you have to clarify like, oh yeah, I slipped and tripped and
Yeah.
my sister punched me. Why are you
Yeah.
punching your sister?
Oh my god, you know why?
Why? I
You
don't
guys,
remember.
our main fights are over laundry.
Oh.
I'm not
Oh.
kidding. I swear to God, either like somebody has their stuff in the wash for too long and someone's
Yeah.
got to do it. Somebody folded someone's shit. Somebody like accidentally dried.
Wait, that sounds
If you
great.
dried one of my shirts that cannot be dried and now it's shrunk, that's what we fight about 99% of the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
The other 1%'s like the dishes, which everybody fights over. It's like, dude, do your dishes. You left that pan for me to clean. I was pissed.
Well, it's riveting stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to hear us fight about our laundry, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
You guys live together?
Yeah, we're
Yeah. Okay.
roommates, so
Holy
it's-
shit. And we're at in North Loop? Or?
Mhm.
That is so funny that we
Yeah.
literally have replicas of ourselves in girl form like 500 feet away from us.
It's priceless.
I know.
Liquor Lyles, you got to get out of there after like I think like 11:30 starts
11:30.
rolling around.
Oh yeah, it's not
like,
safe. After
It's not
that.
safe.
It's not safe.
New location.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
You gotta mix it up.
It's
It's
also
good for a little bit.
At 9 o'clock until 10:30, you get the
Yeah.
2-for-1s. You
Oh,
get
yes.
like 3 of them, and then you roll out.
Yeah.
Get cheese curds.
Yeah.
Oh man, but it's a no windows in there. Like
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a black hole
Yeah.
for sure. And it's always harsh when you're like absolutely hammered and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get my bill and it's $8 and you're like, how did this happen in this
Yeah.
way?
No,
You're like, I
understanding.
got that drunk off $8. Is this good or bad? I don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Have you guys? I don't know what it's actually called, but this is what it's always advertised to me as: is tranny bingo on Wednesday nights.
I have never attended, but
You know what I'm talking about?
no.
No,
Not
I have
at
no
all.
idea.
Okay, so it's at Liquor Lyles on I think it's like Tuesday or Wednesday nights.
it's Wednesdays.
Yeah, and it's called tranny bingo, and it's this like trans woman.
It's,
How does
it's
this work again?
It's
Ty, is it trans
it's a man
woman or
being a
tran-
woman.
It's a man being a woman. So what is that? So
Yeah.
So
Well,
trans
it could go,
woman.
It could go several ways. But
Yeah.
is this your formal invite to
Yeah,
us?
are you trying to go? Because
Yeah.
we'll go.
we'll
I
do
love
it.
bingo.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll do a
I-
podcast double
Should
date
we
for
live
tranny
stream
bingo.
it or what?
I don't know if we have to live stream, but we could definitely go there and
Yeah.
experience and then come back and talk about
Oh
it.
yeah.
All right.
That
yeah.
you know, like I feel like that's
Yeah.
better content. I don't know.
Yes.
I tend to do a lot of B-roll footage now when I'm drunk on the streets. It's the funniest and kind of weirdest thing of all
Yeah.
time.
He's filming everything. These
Filming
days.
everything. Once I figured
Yeah.
out that you could change your phone to 4K at 60 frames per second, everything that you film is just like the coolest thing.
I literally have no idea what that is.
Me either.
Like
No.
that was a different language.
I know
for
how to
me,
like
4K.
boomerang on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, well those
That's
are good.
where we're
So,
at.
yeah.
Still,
No,
we're like a
that's
little
good.
bit behind you.
Yeah.
No. You guys are far. You're right
You're
at
killing
our level.
it,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
killing it. Don't sell yourself short there. But 4K is like just normal like TV. You know, like you ever
No,
heard
you're,
of,
no,
like,
you're
high
pretty much
definition.
watching everything in 1080. Like on YouTube, you know, you can click. It's like
Yep.
1080,
Yes.
720, 480,
Mhm.
So there's another one that's
4K.
4K, which is 4,000 pixels per square inch.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
then that's how they basically show this, or that's the modern day presentation of like professional footage.
Wow.
And it's framed at or filmed at 60 frames per second. So like, do you know how video works? It's a recurring feedback that takes pictures and puts
Mhm.
that together as a
Mhm.
video. So 60 frames per second is how many times it's basically taking a photo over and over and over.
Okay. Wow.
Does
My-
that make sense?
Yeah, my
Yes.
brain is like, I could tell you are an engineer. You like that stuff.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
good
no,
at
I
it.
get
Like-
fired up about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
good for
That's
you.
very smart.
Me, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
yeah, like smart.
But get this though. So your iPhone can now shoot at that quality. It has like an iPhone 8. So once I figured that out, I was like, dude, I'm taking videos of every sunset that I see now because it's just cool as hell. I'll
Yes,
show
I
you
love
guys
you.
some cool stuff. But the craziest thing is, And the only way you can, so I always try and film it and then post it on our story to make it, just look cool. It's a flex.
I think the craziest thing is watching you film it.
Yeah, no, I'm
the bystander.
Yes.
Like, oh, here he goes again.
Yeah.
And he breaks out his phone. He just gets in this hunch, and he
Like
just starts walking around the whole room, and everyone just watching Declan just carry his phone.
and I'm grabbing like transition footy because I know how it's gonna look. Like,
He goes up from
Later
like the
on.
Starbucks cup, like up into the sunset.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll do like transition, just imagining like some like hip EDM, just right around the corner.
Everybody's friend group needs somebody like you.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody needs someone who's taking the pictures, doing the video, because nobody who doesn't want to do it wants to do it. Like
Yeah.
my friend Christine, she takes the pictures for the group, and you always want the
Always.
pictures, but no one goes out of their way to take them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
God bless her. God bless you.
Mhm.
Thank
Everybody needs you.
He is.
Yeah.
He is the
Thank
key. He's
Yeah.
the glue piece in the friend group for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
They
No one doesn't like a candid photo of themselves, like
Yeah.
looking natural, and you're the one that provides that. Like that's a big deal.
I'm really not providing any photos. I'm literally taking like transition videos of them. So I don't know how valuable this is to anybody.
We'll figure it out.
well,
We'll
I
think
find
it's
the
in the
value.
works.
You
Yeah.
can find the value.
Yeah.
for sure.
We're into it. So
Yeah.
if you need some footage, we'll be in it.
There you
I'm
go.
just throwing it
If
out
you
there.
guys are, Ty calls it content grabs. If you guys ever need to like hang out and just grab some content with us, we'd be happy to help you out.
Love
Let's
it.
grab some content.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, absolutely.
I like that.
If you
Good
guys,
content grab.
yeah, we're walking content grabs is pretty much all we are now at this point.
You should like trademark that. Like, don't
Yeah.
let anyone take that from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
We
is
will.
you.
We got to give Ty
The credit.
the
Yeah.
credit because you are grabbing content all the time.
Made fun of me, so
No, we embraced it
Yeah, we embrace. What do you
in
mean?
a satirical way.
It wasn't like a dialogue of if we were making fun of me or if we were embracing it. So like a couple weeks ago, I went back. I'm from Green Bay. And I
Okay.
went back to do like this video project I got hired for, and I called it. I described the project as a content grab because all I was doing was going to this football camp and shooting video and stuff meant for social media content. And I just called it content grab. I just came up with it, whatever.
Mhm.
And then I come back and these guys are just ribbing me. How was your content grab? And I didn't know if they were being serious or if they were giving me shit. And then
I just
We're
thought it
being
was
serious.
It
Is
might be a
serious?
combo too.
Yeah.
You know?
It was just a unique name for it, and I had never heard of it.
Which is
and
kind of the best. It's like they respect it, but also they're like, I don't know how I feel about it. And it's a good thing. I
it's
think.
very 2019,
Yeah,
right? Like
yes.
I'm going home for a content grab.
Yeah.
Like I have never heard that before. I think that's cool. I
Yeah.
think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, Ty.
Yeah.
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 Same. I'm here for
Way
that.
to go.
Yeah.
We won't forget that.
Yeah.
It's all from you.
Yeah.
But
We should probably unpack more about you guys.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
I don't know how this. We think we know how this works. We
Yeah.
don't know how it works.
it's a trial and error process.
Always.
Speaking of homes, you guys are from the Twin Cities area.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're from
from
White Bear
Don't
Lake.
assume. Don't
Yeah.
don't
White
assume.
Bear. No, I knew that. I knew they were in
No,
the Twin
yes,
Cities.
yes.
Here's
Yeah.
how I ask you. Where are you guys from?
We are from the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
from White Bear Lake,
Nice.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
So yeah, we grew up on the lake. I think that's where the whole like cabin lake like obsession comes from. It's like
For
our
sure.
DNA, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty close to home.
Yeah.
I went to college at the U of M.
I went to Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we separated at one point. Like we needed to build our own identity.
Mm-hmm.
So going to different colleges was kind of essential for us. But then
Yeah.
when we graduated and moved back home, we're like, all right, back together. Let's do this.
4 years
Yeah.
apart was enough.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
plenty. But the thing with college, it's like there's an end date, right? Like like, oh, come May, we'll have the whole summer together, or like
Right.
come graduation, we'll be back together. So it wasn't as hard.
Well, like initially it was like the novelty of college, right? It's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna have this like whole experience,
Mm-hmm.
and then so freshman year was easier, and then sophomore year got a little bit harder, and it just got harder as time went on. Cause it's like, all right, now I get the whole college thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not new to me anymore. I just miss like my best friend now. I just
Mhm.
want her back. So we had our own thing for a while, but I like our thing better when it's both of us
Yeah.
together.
We're together.
Dang, that is super cool. So you guys are like preferring to live together in
Yeah.
Uptown,
Yes.
Mhm.
and then it now makes all sense with
Yeah.
podcasts and everything else that
Yeah.
you guys are doing. So you guys have just been vibing off each other for like 25 years.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Since '94.
Yeah.
94.
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
Mhm.
What's it like being twins? Is it like two roses in the thorn of being twins? We're big two roses in the thorn people on this podcast.
I
Being
like
two good
that.
things, one bad thing.
Oh,
Yes.
I like
Well,
that.
we'd love to hear that.
Wow, that we get that question so much, and I feel at this
People
point.
ask you about two roses in thorn all the time.
No, but I
sorry.
like that saying. I'm
Just
just here
like,
for that.
what?
Who made
Yeah,
that
we-
up?
Yeah.
We did.
No, I think it
I
was your
don't know.
mom.
Yeah,
So,
probably my
the
mom.
mom. Give credit to mom.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're pro
I
mom
am
podcast.
Partly giving credit to Brett Michaels, like every rose has
Yeah,
a thorn.
yeah.
Like, so let's give some respect there
Mm.
first of
Yeah.
all.
Who's that?
What?
Wait, you're joking.
Brett
Brett
Michaels?
Michaels, country singer.
No. Okay. Did you? First off. Okay.
Where do we even unpack this?
Yeah.
Poison. It's like a band from the 80s. It's like a heavy metal.
You know
yeah.
the song, wait,
damn it.
why am I
Yeah.
blanking? Every rose has its thorn.
Yeah.
What's like another major
You know.
poison?
He's got it.
You
I
got
don't know.
But,
Yeah,
and then he
pull it up.
He had a show on VH1 called Rock of Love, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were way too young to be watching that show,
Yeah.
but did we watch it every Sunday and sometimes with our grandma? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a bunch of girls who want to date a rock star who are like 30 years younger than Bret Michaels is, and they're all competing for his love. So
It's
it's like,
exactly how it sounds,
Yeah.
too. Like, imagine just 30 girls trying to, like, go after an 80s washed-up rock star.
it was
It's exactly
trashy,
that. But somehow we transitioned being twins to that.
Okay, yeah.
Easy
So I
transition.
think I have one really good thing I like about being a twin. It's like you have a constant best friend. Like you never have to go anywhere really alone.
Mhm.
You always have a built-in best friend. Like you just have to do everything together.
Yeah.
What else?
You're making this sound like everybody's twins and hanging out, doing everything together. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, are there twins out there that just hate each other? That, like, don't get along?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So is this uncommon or is this a very common thing?
Well, I think we are kind of. We might be a little bit different than everybody, just
Yeah.
because I think twins.
You definitely
like,
are.
vibe.
Everybody's different. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna put anybody in
yeah,
a box.
fair.
Yeah.
But we vibe on another level, I feel like. I don't
Yeah.
know. We just. A lot of people like love their twin. They do their thing, but they don't live together and do this everything together. They have separate friend groups. We're pretty much the same.
But there's also
Yeah.
those twins that, like, went to college together, were college roommates, and
yeah.
never really did that different identity thing. So I don't really know. I don't have many twin friends, which is weird. So I can't, like, pull from experience. I'm like, there's like one twin for every crowd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are them.
Mhm.
So I don't know. But it's hard. So, like, some people will always assume, like, oh, you guys are the same person. I think that's one of, like, the thorns, whatever, is people. But it's like
We don't think
catch-22.
you're the same
Yeah.
same people.
Thank you. Because
it is-
clearly I'm the audio engineer
Yes.
and Lauren's the Instagram. So we're
Exactly.
clearly
Yeah,
different.
Get it right. Get it right. Yeah. It is like a tough thing. So you want your own identity, but we are so similar. So it is a catch-22.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't know.
So when they do say you guys are the same person, you're like, kind of. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right to an
Yeah,
extent.
you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you can.
It depends on how I feel that day. If I like Lauren that day, I'm like, yep. And if she's bothering me and I, like, just can't stand her, I'm like, no, I'm my own self. She's whatever.
It depends on the context too. Like if
Okay.
people are
So
just
walk
like,
us through a scenario,
Yeah.
please.
okay, so what we use this scenario a lot. So like I'll never forget a birthday party we went to as kids, and there was like one extra cupcake or something, or one less. So there was like 10 girls, 9 cupcakes. Well, everyone's like, well, Lauren and Madison will just split because they're the same person. I'm like, bitch,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
want my own
Damn.
cupcake. And just because we're sisters doesn't mean that we should have to share everything.
Yeah.
But I guess when people are like, oh, they're really similar, they're like the same person. That I don't know. It's
I
like
know.
it's like a catch-22. I don't know how you describe it.
And also, I don't know what it's like to not be a twin, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
like, when people say, like, oh, do you love it? It's like, well, what's being you like? I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't have another face that looks like you. Like, what's that like?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's obviously, like, challenges, you know, people ask questions that are just, you know, the most personal questions of all time. And they feel like they can ask you that because you're a twin, so you're an anomaly. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. You guys are kind of weird. So, like, you can answer that. But
Mhm.
would I ever go to, like, a regular person and ask the question you just asked me? I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, it's weird too when people are like, do your boyfriends get you guys mixed up? Like
That's
stuff like
what I'm
that. And it's
referring
like,
to, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No. That'd be weird. I wouldn't date somebody who
Yeah. Can't tell me
thought,
apart.
yeah.
Mhm.
That
That's
feels
wild.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
I see. If you're wondering what it's like to be not a twin,
Yeah.
for me, it's been kind of weird because I've only met one Declan ever.
Yeah.
And even when I went to Ireland, where the origin of that name is there,
Mm-hmm.
still was just seeing signs of my name of like different Declans who were big time real estate dudes out there. But that was about it. And then most times, the closest I get to being like a twin is when like people come up to me all the time and they're just like, "You look so much like." Enter in a name that you don't even know exists
Mhm.
because it's their friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, tight. Is that good or what?
Yeah,
You
do
look-
they suck or are
You-
they cool?
Like it's like you look so much like my buddy Mike from back home in lacrosse. Cool, dude. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but
Right.
thank you. Like my name's Declan. You know. Like,
yeah, that's always like the, oh my god, you remind me so much of so and so, and you're like, okay, well, are they tight or are
Yeah.
they like a horrible person?
I assume because they're bringing it up, they're like, "You're a cool guy.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back to my experience with my buddy Mike."
Mhm.
I think that's what's going on, but at the same time, it's like I want to be my own person. Like I don't want to be twins with Mike from lacrosse. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right. Like, who is Mike?
Yeah. You
It's
guys.
always Mike.
You guys are fortunate. You guys grew up with, that other person that's
Mhm.
relatable, and now you guys are kind of viewed as one.
Yeah.
Are you guys worried when your podcast blows up that people are going to know like so much about both of you now, and you are already having the problem with being valued as one person? Now you guys are going to be the impromptu girls. You have your own brand behind it, and then you're going to have like 100K at this rate with how Lauren's marketing you guys.
Yeah, she is a genius. I love her for that.
No, God, far from.
That's a solid question. I feel like we love our brand of being the two of us because it's our most authentic selves. I guess I don't know. We want people to view us in that way. I don't know.
Yeah, in a positive way.
Yeah.
I think like when it's negative, like you guys don't have your own identity, that's when it gets
Yeah.
annoying. But because obviously like what we have on the podcast, like we're pretty much an open book, but like there are some things that are different about us or whatever. So it always is hard when people think they know everything just from and you guys can totally probably relate. Like everybody thinks they know you entirely from
It's hilarious.
listening to your podcast and stuff. But I don't know how it would be like moving forward of
You don't really have to put much headspace to it. I'm just saying that this is something that I am seeing that could be kind of cool. Because we were talking about it like, oh, it's probably going to get, like, looking into the future, like, it's probably going to get really annoying when everybody knows too much about us because we have 200 podcasts out there that you could listen to of our voices. But at the same time, just look at it positively, live in the moment of this whole aspect of, like, you're putting out stuff where you're just talking about whatever and anything. Yeah. And people are vibing off it and actually finding entertainment value from it.
It's interesting in terms of like dating, right? Because like I feel like we were dating for a little, not us, but like we were like
Lauren and I were dating.
I know. So I feel like when
you guys had like boyfriends in the past or something?
Well, no, I think what she's trying to say is like with this podcast, like going on dates and stuff like that, people will listen to it and like ask you questions about the experiences that you shared, and you're kind of like, wow, should I have saved that story for a time where I was getting to know someone? But on the contrast, like one of my favorite things about the podcast is people always say, I loved listening to it. I felt like I got to know you so much more. Like I know so much about you and I feel like connected to you. And that is like honestly the best thing you could possibly hear about your podcast. That's the whole point. Especially of ours. Because ours is called Impromptu. It's just impromptu conversation, like something I would have with you if you were with me.
Totally.
But I think what she's referring to is like when you're going on dates with someone, how much are you going to share on the podcast about your personal life? How much are you going to save for like meeting someone
or
new?
you just feel weird because it's like, okay, you probably already know everything about me because you've listened to the podcast. So
assuming that they have.
Hold on.
Yes,
so is that a question you got to ask like within the first 5 minutes? Like, hey, you listen to any of my podcast, what do you know about
me? Do some market
just
research
so I
right
clear
away.
the air right away. What did you already get?
Just so we can get on the same page.
Well, I'm curious what you guys have to say about that as well. But I think I always just wait for them to say something about, and I'm talking like this, like I'm like the Bachelorette and I have 50,000 days.
Right? Yeah. But we get to talk like that. So who cares?
Yeah, that's true. So like I'm not like sitting here like a major like I'm going on all these dates and people know me, right? So it's like
I know I'm like dating. I'm like I think it was one date.
I know. I think this was
one time, and the person was like, "Oh, I haven't really listened to any episodes because I wanted to get to know you like before." And I'm like, "Cool, right?"
See, I had a contrast. I had someone be like, "I listened to all your episodes." I'm like, "Great." So since you said that first, now I feel like I can talk about it because I don't want to be like, "Hi, I have a podcast. I'm a millennial, and this is what I do." Like, it's just I kind of waited to hear what they had to say about it. But like, what about you guys? Like, do you guys have that same situation?
Well, I guess it's different a little bit because you guys. And I want to talk about this at some point. It's like you guys just jumped in on being yourselves and making a brand literally around the two of you, where Andrew and I are doing something very similar in that sense. But anytime someone comes on our podcast, like we tailor the entire podcast to that person. Yeah. So like when Famous Dave comes on from owner of Famous Dave's, like that's his podcast. We talk about Famous Dave. We title the podcast that way. We just ask the questions and orchestrate the conversation. I guess we're starting to build our own brand too now with having our own show. So it's building out in different ways in different avenues at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot more content that's not about us.
Yes.
I'd say like 80% of the content is about the guest, and then there's 20% of the content that's about us.
Right.
So there's less of people getting to know us that way. They really get to see how Backpocket has grown from like being this idea to what it is today. Yeah. That's how they get to know us. And then we do have a show, the Back End show that released on Thursdays, where we're just riffing, where it's the three of us, and that's when we're talking about all our knucklehead shit that it's just like
behind the scenes.
What do we do this week? And it's similar to the impromptu, just kind of whatever on the top of your head. Let's talk about that.
Certain topics or whatever, and go at it.
In a relationship sense, for me, this is totally new territory. Just ended a relationship like 2 months ago, and haven't even touched it yet. Like getting back out there, so like I am honestly super stoked to figure out like how this is gonna play out.
Yeah.
Are people listening prior to like going on a date? Do I just send it to them right away?
Oh my
Do
god,
I, like,
I'm so excited for you. This is gonna be like a good social experiment. Not
Yeah.
trying to use you like for that. Buckle up. Buckle up. It's gonna be a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we gotta do is when this kid like goes on a date, we need
Yeah.
to do a review session.
Oh,
before
yes.
with
We have to
everybody.
like debrief everything.
Yeah.
We need to be attendance in attendance
Yeah.
of this.
Mhm.
We do.
Lauren and Madison are like really trying to do some serious market research. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting because it's like, how do you genuinely get to know people nowadays because of social media and like having podcasts and stuff? It's like
Yeah.
you already
Right.
know so much. Like, I already know you have a dog. I already know that you work here and that you play this sport and that you do this. So then
yeah,
it's
I've
like,
looked you up on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Twitter,
Mhm.
YouTube, all of the platforms, like
Yeah.
Tumblr. Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? What do you like?
yeah, do you have a Pinterest? What are your Pinterest boards? Like, what is your mood?
Yeah, no way.
What's going on? Yeah, I mean,
Millennials.
yeah,
what do you
modern
say?
day.
Did you look up Declan on LinkedIn?
I did not because
Yeah.
I have searched. You know how you can like search and then if you click it, then they know you saw them.
Yeah.
So you just
think.
do like the quick search, see their name, see what their title is, and
What
yeah,
company
exit
they
out.
work for?
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Well, actually, I
I-
didn't know that for a while. I didn't know that
Can
that
see
they
who
saw.
view. Yeah.
Yes, and I was creeping on this one person in particular
Yes.
for months, and then finally I was like,
Months.
it was probably like Madison Lindorf has viewed your profile 600 times.
And yeah, well, because he didn't have any social media. We knew him from back in the day. Okay, sorry to expose you a little bit, but so we're like, dude, where is this person and why are they not on social media? Like, it's
Yeah.
2019. Who doesn't have
Yeah.
an Instagram? Well, found him on LinkedIn.
600 times.
You can
Yeah.
take the feature off if you want, and if you don't want to see who's viewed yours, then you can't see. Then people can't see who viewed.
Doesn't go back.
I actually knew that, but I don't know how to do it, so I
And you
never
didn't-
know.
Wait, and you didn't tell me that?
No, because I don't know
What
how to
is
do
wrong
it.
with you? That's so sad.
Sassy suffer, I guess.
We got the audio engineer over here trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
So it sounds
oh my
like.
God. Yep, for sure.
It's weird though, like going to your point of like social media, like ever since I would say probably last year, maybe a little bit before that, we started posting on Instagram every single day.
yeah, you guys are
um,
good at that.
Yeah, so then we got a routine down, and then now we do 9 times a week. So
Wow.
we fill up our 9 blocks, and
Mhm.
all the ones at the end of like on a Sunday, if you go and look at our page, the left block is the episode titles,
Mhm.
and then each one going across each row is the description or like a content grab of that
Same guest.
same guest.
You guys, that's wonderful.
We
That's
we
so
plotted this
good.
all out. It was so
Yeah,
funny. We were
it's-
sitting in our little hut, just
War room over
in our
here.
war room, just
Yeah.
freaking drawing out the line squares like tic-tac-toe and be like, okay, let's run our episodes this way. All right, how are we going to do that?
Mhm.
We work backwards and post 2
on
times Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 1 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then start again one more
Wow.
to announce on Sunday. So we
Yeah.
figured out like obviously Monday and Tuesday are not obviously, but
Yeah.
those are the highest days for Instagram engagements. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's release the most content there. Let's release our top 2 podcasts that we'd record anyways.
Mhm.
Release them on Monday and Tuesday, build the awareness right away. Then come back at the end of the week and do this back end show.
Lauren, take some notes.
I
Seriously,
am.
like, what are
I'm
you doing
like
here?
looking. I'm like, okay, Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, squares.
Here's the thing though. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's
Exacto.
just like our silly bulletproof knucklehead. It's not bulletproof. Knucklehead strategy.
Mhm.
Like the podcast space is so raw. You can do whatever you want. Like
Mhm.
it's really doesn't matter as long as you're staying consistent with content, which you guys have
Mhm.
been, and that's why I really really appreciated what you guys were doing because
Mhm.
like so many people will be like, I want to start a podcast.
I know, yeah.
I want to start a podcast. How do you guys start a podcast? Well, it's really not that hard. Like
Mhm.
record on your phone, post it on Anchor, and it goes off to the world. Like it's
Mhm.
so simple, but it's hard to do it every single Sunday and
Mhm.
record and have content and try and get better and listen and edit
Yeah.
and post on Instagram. Like there's so much more to it now, but
It's
that's
for
why I
sure.
respect what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it is tough. And especially like, getting started
Yeah.
was kind of like that
Oh,
awkward
yeah.
limbo. I remember like we initially had the idea because we really wanted to be honest with you, Madison was going through a bad breakup. And yeah, shit happens.
Well,
so
I became a podcast, so everything's okay.
Exactly.
There you
So
go.
I remember one day, like, we were at work and, like, we were, like, having a rough day. We met each other for lunch and we were, I don't know, things were just, like, not as positive. And I was just like, we're going to start a podcast. So
Lauren-
Lauren's like,
randomly.
meet me at Target right now. I have an idea. So I meet her and I walk up to her. She's like, we're starting a podcast tomorrow. And you were like, no. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
we are.
I was
She was, like, kind of crying. Not trying to throw you under.
Wow.
And she's like, no. And I'm like, yes, we are. And the next day we went to Guitar Center. Actually, you had the idea. You're like, well, let's just like do it on our phone. And I'm like, no, if we're going to do this, we're doing it right. Like we're getting mics. we're not going to sound like crap. Because if you sound like crap at your first one, nobody's ever going to listen again, right? Like,
yeah, that's what happened to us. I think some people showed up for
like,
season
what
1.
The fuck
They're
is
like,
this?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, you guys! I can't even listen to episode 1 and 2 without having tears in my eyes of like cringing. Like, it's just like, oh, we've gotten so much better since then.
Oh my god! And we were so like.
So you're at
quiet.
Guitar Center and you're walking around the place. Did you ask for help or what?
Because
that's what we did. We went to Best Buy.
We went to Best Buy and asked the first guy where mics were. We figured it out. Benny from Best Buy hooked us up. $50 snowball.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, we went into Guitar Center and we were like, hey, can you help us with the mics? And we were like, we don't want to be cheap on it, but we're not trying to like ball hard, right? Because like we don't know if this is going to even work.
If it's going to pop off yet. We don't know yet.
We don't know if we're going global or not.
Yeah.
That's why you had to be honest.
Totally. So we just like went in there, they got mics. I think the guy was just like, yeah, here you go. Like he was just like, he probably gets so many people going in there like, we're doing a podcast. But we were actually like taking it seriously. And he's like, these chicks. Okay. So then we got the mics, went home, plugged them in, and kind of just like went for it. The first one was so awkward because like, how do you even start? We were like,
what was like the hour beforehand where you guys just kind of
we drank a lot of wine.
All right,
there you go.
Yeah. We drank a lot before.
Yeah, we used to do that before.
It would literally like I would be like slightly hammered.
Yeah, and then
and now it's
now we kind of chilled with the wine. We mostly do it sober now.
Well, it's on Sundays, so I don't know. You got residual effects from the weekend.
Sure.
So you just gotta work with it. But I look back at those, I'm like, yikes. And so like that was kind of questions I had for you guys too, because I feel like so many people have reached out to us in particular and they're like, I'm gonna start a podcast. What's your advice? Like, what do you do? I mean, honestly, 5 people have reached out to us about it. And so do you guys get that too, where a lot of people ask you guys for advice? And then do you also have this feeling that people think it's super easy? And then they just like, because you're right, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to be consistent. So like even on a Sunday when you're tired, you got to get in there and talk on a microphone. You have to. And it's not like the easiest thing in the world. And also to have a conversation, it could be hard sometimes, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So what do you guys think? Did you think it would be easy right away? And did you have like struggles too?
I don't know really what we thought we were getting ourselves into for us, but looking back on it, how to we get at least once a week someone asks us, how do you start a podcast, or we want to start a podcast, and our response is grab your phone and it doesn't matter the audio quality, record on your phone and upload it to anchor.fm, who distributes it to all of the, if you want it on iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and all the other various podcast hosting platforms, just put it on Anchor and see what happens. Don't look at it like it's this professional, like over the top, super well done, clean cut type audio file. For a podcast, just have a conversation, especially if it's like our style. Like we're not solving world issues. We're not solving world issues here. We're not trying to be someone we're not. Yeah. So
we can. Yeah. But it depends on if you guys want to solve them. It's tailored to you, you know. Because we're not gonna bring up the world issues and then have you solve them. You're gonna bring up the issues, assuming that you have a solution.
There you go. Wow, that was profound.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any right now, but once I do, I'll let you know.
We'll get there. We got some time.
Yeah. It's just like the problem with podcasting.
The problem with podcasting, exactly.
It's a world issue.
It's a world issue. We're solving it.
Yeah.
Clearly, it is. But yeah, I feel like people think it's super easy too. I mean, but it can be. It can be whatever you want. But like, it's one of those things that you just have to take the time. It's a hobby. It's important.
You have to put attention into it and be like thoughtful about it.
And a lot of people ask us, like, do you do it for the money or do you do it for this? And it's all about your intentions of what you're doing with it, right? Like, I love what you guys do because you want to influence people around you. And I think that's wonderful. I mean, and we just want to be like friends with people. We want people to get to know us and we just want to have conversation with people. So if your intention is to get sponsors and be an influencer and doing this and this, you just got to like root back to what you're doing. And for us, it's just like, it's working because it's just who we are. And
totally. Yeah, my favorite is when people are like, oh my God, I was listening to this on the way to work and it made my morning. I'm like, that makes me so happy. That's what it's supposed to be about. And if it feels like you're in a group chat or you're with a group of friends when you're listening to it, like you could be by yourself driving home or to from work, whatever it is, and you just feel like you're with a group of people and you can relate. Like that's what I love most. Because that's how I feel when I listen to podcasts. Like I want to feel like I'm with the people.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you, like, what kind of podcasts do you guys listen to?
I listen to a variety. I know you guys are huge Joe Rogan fans, so I would love to touch base on that because I was a biology major in college, so I love Joe Rogan when he has biology.
Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
Yes, that one.
That's like the most profound one, right? Like that's like everybody's listened to.
Well, there's tons of like some of them like.
Well,
Tons of
our dad is
biologists.
obsessed with Joe Rogan. Like he's a
Full
man crush.
blown.
He's
Yes.
a man crush, and so we got into Joe Rogan kind of from him. And like
Right.
Joe Rogan's just the shit. Like the Fear Factor. Like let's not forget.
Mm-hmm.
No one forgets Fear
yeah.
Factor. That was elite. But yeah, I listen to a variety of things like that. I know Chicks in the Office. I feel like that was like kind of our vibe right away.
Yeah,
we just
that's
like,
what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
We were
listen to your
Barstool.
guys'
We were Pardon My Take. That's how it gave us the
Yeah, that's
inspiration.
a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean that is a fabulous one too.
But we try not to get hung up on other people's podcasts. Like
yeah.
I haven't really listened to a lot of like other like I haven't listened to Chicks in the Office or anything in a while, just because I'm like I don't want to form what I'm doing based off you guys. Like
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
stay genuine and organic. And so sometimes like subconsciously you'll pick up on other things people do, or you'll say like, oh, they do this, I want to do this too.
Right.
So I try not to listen to a bunch, especially right before we record. But
Yeah, for sure.
I've been trying to search for like really small organic ones that are like random people like deep into like iTunes.
Like
Just
the dark
like
web
us.
of
the
podcasting.
dark yes, like us, where it's
Mhm.
like, you know, not huge but not tiny.
Yeah, like what's your competition essentially? But
Yes.
also like
yeah.
because people do come up with like interesting podcast ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still, I mean, going back to Joe Rogan is definitely the one that I will always pretty much consistently listen to because it's just different than all the others. It's so unique, and you just know his style,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like when it's a smart person,
Mhm.
those are by far my favorite.
Yeah, same.
I love listening to those intellectual
Yo, they're
ones.
all smart.
Everyone's smart for
Mhm.
sure. Do you listen to Eric Weinstein yet?
I have listened to that one a long time ago. So if you ask me any questions, I'm gonna stumble.
He just came on again.
okay,
just
wait, he was
recently.
on a long time ago though,
He's
right?
been
Yeah,
on
he
a
was.
few
He's
times.
been on a
Yeah.
few
Okay,
times.
so
Mhm.
I've listened to one way in the past, but
Yeah.
I need to catch up with
Crazy.
them. I mean, you have to devote like 3 hours of your time
Yeah.
for that, and that's where it's kind of a struggle for me. It's like, when do I have 3 hours to be actively listening to something? It's really tough.
Yeah, in the car, while I'm showering, doing the
Yeah.
dishes. It's all just like eating breakfast. I just have it in my pocket,
Yeah.
just walking around.
And just
True.
it's always just I
We're-
have my
we're
earbuds.
podcasting like junkies.
Yeah, like you'll think this is nuts. So every time when I'm at work, I'll have my earbuds in,
Same.
and instead of listening to like other podcasts, I'll literally be listening to our podcast, and I'll
Yeah.
show note every single moment that
Mhm.
was like good, essentially, or
Notable.
notable. And then I'll put like little notes in there, like great content used for this, blah blah blah. Roll through it, and then we use that as the basis for going into when we produce the podcast. So
Mhm.
produce the whole thing, video and everything. The full thing will go on YouTube, and then Andrew and I will go through those show notes, and then Andrew does one episode, I do the other, and we split the back end show,
Mhm.
and then we'll go through and find all those different moments, chop it up into 60 seconds, and then post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
We have templates that we've created to then make it look professional, and then we basically
Just
have
speed
like
up
a
the
whole
process. It takes us about 8 hours to walk.
8 hours
to walk
per.
us
Wow.
every episode. Yeah.
You guys, that's huge. So
Yeah.
for you, did that just like start out as a hobby, or like what inspired
yeah.
it for you guys? 'Cause this was solely like Lauren said, she exposed me. This was a
Yeah.
hobby for us to like focus on each other and just like do something new. But I mean, for you guys, like you devote 8 hours of your time. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
24 hours in a week
Oh
is
my
what we
God.
put on this.
8
Wow.
hours per podcast. Yeah.
August 9th last year, we created Backpocket LLC, and that's when we took this like seriously. And now we are trying to figure out how to make it like a actual business model behind
Yeah.
podcasting, because there is no blueprint to
No.
the coolest thing that what we're doing
Mhm.
is like when you start a podcast, it's usually because you're trying to promote a brand or
Yeah.
you're trying to promote yourself. They've
Mhm.
already have like established notability. For what we're doing is we are creating Impromptwo Girls is a podcast. Backpocket is a podcast. We are growing as a podcast, and I think that's like something that no one's done in a successful way. Like you can't look at like, oh, that's how they did it, I'm gonna do it that way.
Totally.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. It has to be your own path. And that's like, we can't compare our podcast to others. People always ask us, like, well, what is it like? And then we just try not to, just try and stray from that, because then why
Yeah.
wouldn't you just go listen to that one?
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
We need to have our own like brand and
yeah,
identity.
yeah, we have some people that are like, oh, you guys should do this or that. It's like, okay, well, we would if we wanted to, right? Like,
Sure.
we
Yeah.
aren't trying to form into another podcast. So,
Yeah.
or like, you guys should talk about this. We're like, we'll talk about it if we want, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have a blueprint, and
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
whatever it
We're
is.
always down for suggestions, but yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, you guys should emulate what this person does, or talk more about this, or you guys don't do this enough. But it's like, at the end of the day, this is our hobby, and whoever, like, people resonate with what we talk about, and they're gonna listen, and that's
Mhm.
fine.
Right.
That's exactly who we want to be listening. So.
Right.
For advice with that, create a Google Doc and just share all your friends on and be like, when they mention these points, it's, hey, put in the Google Doc, I'll get to it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like we'll get to that one. Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
get to that one. Thank you.
I hear you. Yeah,
I thank you. That's noted. We'll get to it. Yeah,
for sure.
That's how we ran our Bocella page. So
Yes.
we had Bocella was a whole event in itself.
I know, it looks
But
sick. I
it
was
was-
like so proud of you guys. I'm like, hell yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, no, June 20th, 2020.
I'm marking it now. I'm dead
Yeah.
serious.
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
I'll
Got some
be
tickets.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we were working with a couple other guys who had brands or whatever that were helping sponsor this boat party, and we would get on calls with them, and they would just like write, they would just have like all these ideas, and it's like, guys, like we can talk about all these ideas, but we need to be doing something. Like we got 4 weeks until this thing's going. So every time like we would be on these things, we'd just be writing them in the Google Doc, and we're like, okay, it's in the Google Doc, guys. Here's our price breakdown of how this is all going to go. We think here's all the ideas. Here's the name of the thing. Here, and let's run with this thing. Like, let's go. And so we just blasted that Google Doc off to them, and then that's how they basically operated, or how we operated, I should say.
But going off that, like a lot of our day is filled with headspace about Backpocket, and I'm curious with you guys, when you're with your friends now, how much of the conversation the podcast gets brought up, or like you guys start thinking about the podcast? Do you find that's like gotten pretty frequent?
Oh, completely. I have a notes app. I mean, everyone has a notes app on their phone. I'm like running through, like if somebody says something, I'm like, oh my god, that's a good idea. We should talk about that.
It's shared, like, so
I
can like watch her live typing things, and it always happens like right before bed when I'm like, you know, in that weird headspace where you're thinking about everything, unpacking, and I'm just like, oh, that'd be perfect to discuss on a podcast. So yeah, a lot of it, people will be like, oh my god, that was a funny moment we all just had. You guys should talk about it on your podcast. Or you guys should talk about me on your podcast. It's like, it's hard. But at first, I feel like it really dominated a lot of our conversation. But the more like we get into it, and the more people are like that we hang out with are familiar with us doing it, it isn't as like humongous where people are always like, can I be on it? Like, can we do this? Can we talk about this? But yeah, I mean, it takes up a lot of our like thought.
Sure.
It's very, very thought provoking.
I know it's hard because like when I'm at work, I'm like, okay, I gotta think about work right now.
Mhm.
So on my lunch break, I'm always just like busting out things on my phone or like writing down stuff or like trying to post or something, because I'm like, I gotta separate my work and podcast, but it's hard.
It is hard for sure.
I'm the same way, but it's gotten to the point now where I've worked at the same company for over a year now, and everybody in the office, like, you know, everybody has like that's the guy who's just like always asks me how my day is on Mondays, and I don't want to talk to that guy. Or there's this guy that gets mad all the time, and like he's just super negative. I'm the podcast guy. I'm just like, that's my role, and like the only time people are coming to me talking side conversation is like, hey, how's that podcast going? And then like, so we just had Steve Schussler, the founder of Rainforest Cafe, and my company built like all 45 of his Rainforest Cafes.
Wow.
So the superintendents, these old guys that I work with, are all like tell me these war stories of Steve Schussler before we go and interview him, and like it was nuts. But like I'm like malforming the two, where I got like guys buying Backpocket hats from my desk at work. I got 30 construction workers that have the Backpocket sticker on their hard hat. Like it's starting to like our little
Worlds
brand
collide.
is like growing within my own workplace. I don't know if I recommend
you
it.
have your own business model inside work.
It's
You're hustling. I love it.
Basically what it is I'm making it like very blatantly obvious that like I just love Backpocket, and people resonate off it. Like it's working counterintuitively to what you'd think, right? If I told you that I was just talking about my other job at a different job that I work full time at, you'd think like your bosses would be so pissed. But they love it. They think it's like they were bringing up in like meetings, and I don't know, it's a whole thing.
And we love this thing more than anything like that, and we're trying to figure out how to make this our full-time job. You guys are 18 episodes in, and I'm curious, we hate the question like, what's the future look like? We get that asked every single podcast. And it's like, great, like we'll answer it and we'll give our best, but we don't know what we're doing with this. Like we can only give you so much. I'm curious from your guys' perspective, 18 episodes in, what do you guys love about the podcast the most that you want to continue to do every week? Like what's that one thing that's just like brings you back every week?
Yeah, I think how it started, like when I mentioned this whole intentions thing, it started for us as like a hobby. And so when people ask us that same question, it's so hard and confusing, because a lot of people, well, after the first episode, we actually thought we'd have like 6 people listen, right? I was like, mom, dad, my brother, like my one friend from like 7 years ago. You never know. And then all of a sudden we were like looking at the numbers, and we're like, whoa, like this is happening.
Mhm.
This is crazy. And then people then had ideas for us, right? They were like, you guys should try and get advertisers for this. You should do this. And we were like, at the end of the day, this is our hobby. This is like the fun thing that we do together.
Yeah.
So I think at the core of it, we always try and keep that. But wherever it takes us, like we are down for whatever. We would love if it obviously made it or whatever. But at this point, we think we made it too. Like this is exactly what we're doing. And this is our intention. And we don't expect it to be anything else other than it is. Obviously, you want to be successful in anything you do, in any hobby or your job or whatever. So I think we just want to like keep this trajectory going and see where it takes us. I'm not really sure.
When we initially started it, we were like, okay, we just have to remember we both have like full-time jobs that we love, right? And so
Where do you guys work, by the way?
I work at Target.
Okay.
Yeah.
I work at Hayward, so I do media strategy.
Gotcha. Sweet.
Yes.
Right on.
And we wanted to keep. It's funny because I've actually never talked about like where I work on our podcast.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing. I just wanted to
Breaking
make
news.
sure, like,
breaking news.
But I just wanted to make sure.
We just do everything together.
Yeah.
So keep going.
I wanted to make sure that I had it separate, like my work life and my like hobbies.
Yeah.
And then it started becoming this thing where I was like putting a lot of time and attention in. I was like, I really, really like this podcast thing. Like this hobby is really taking over. So like Madison said, very well said. I'm like, yes, hitting all the points. Check. Yep, you're doing it. I just want to see like organically where it takes us. Like we have no intentions and like standards of we need to be making this money. We need to do this. Like we need to have this many followers. Like we're astonished with like the fact that people like come back every week and listen. Like that's my biggest thing.
Shocked.
I'm like, I'm shocked.
There's like retention here. That's amazing.
Yeah, in the first episode, like as we had kind of mentioned, when we released it, I was so scared. I remember that morning, I'm like, we're not doing it. Like, we're not going to release it because I was so scared. Because, like, putting yourself out there is hard, right? Like, nobody's, like, pumped to, like, really initially put yourself out there. And it's pretty vulnerable, too. It's like, hi, listen to me talk for an hour, 30 minutes.
30 minutes, an hour.
So we actually put the episode out there, and we went on a vacation. So we were actually going to be on a plane, so we had like no service or anything, and then we got off the plane and like we're noticing the numbers were still growing, so it was just insane. So I think just the fact of like, you know, starting organically and doing this for us, not for kind of anybody else, like doing this because we want to do it, and then having expectations, like if we, you know, eventually get bigger and bigger, which hopefully this fall and winter we're going to put a lot more like strategy and intentions into it. I think
there's a lot of strategy coming on this podcast, you know, like this thing could go global pretty quick. So.
Yeah, well that's amazing. And it's
Yeah.
like hopefully you asked us because like you listened and you felt like we had this brand that was like it was just genuine. That's what we want. And so I think every day that we, you know, put out an episode, my goal is to have somebody text me and say that what you said was so funny, I was crying in the car. Or like I couldn't relate more on what you said. Or like some of our episodes we get kind of like real, or some of them are funny. When someone says I related, I didn't even have the words to describe what you said, but I felt that same thing. Or just I got to know you more. That is worth it all for me, at least. That's
happiness is shared.
Yeah, so summers can be really tough. Like time's so precious in the summer, especially in Minnesota. Here we're like grinding out. Like any warm day, it's just like last thing you want to do is like be inside. But so this fall and winter, we were like, we got to build out like our strategy and continue to grow. So we'll see what's in store. But
just sit in the coffee shops and just grind.
Yeah,
Lynn Hall, highly recommended if
Lynn
you guys
Hall
have it.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Sponsor. Well, yeah, they're not a sponsor yet, but you know, after this conversation,
they're up to great things.
They're up to great things. They're providing great platforms for people to enjoy and get stuff done.
Yeah. But as cheesy, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
good.
but I have to say this one thing. As cheesy as it is, like we loved you guys. Like I remember when I initially like found you guys, I was like, Madison, you got to look at these guys. Like they're like here local, they're doing their thing, they're like killing it. So
authentic, very authentic. That's the most important.
Yeah,
gotta
gas
good
you
market
up,
research.
gas you up a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're having fun. That's the best thing. Like every single day, we just have a blast doing it.
His saying is every single day we have a chance to win.
Oh,
did you guys get to the podcast where Andrew cried?
No, I didn't hear that you crying.
I make it through a lot of years, but I go sporadically. So what I do is I kind of like, I like to start from the bottom, and then I kind of go to a new one. Like I've been all over the board with you guys, which is fun. I like the back end ones too. They're fun.
Back end, okay. Yeah. So what's been just like a couple of your favorites? So here's how we frame it
in a better way.
The impromptu listeners are coming onto this podcast to hear your story. What podcast of ours would you want them to listen to?
Oh, that's a good one. I personally really like the back end ones just because like I love the banter and just like the randomness, and I feel like we follow that model a lot with ours. Like the other day you guys were all talking about like how many kids, and someone was mentioning like I cracked up. Somebody said like, oh, the wife is like the main element, or like your girlfriend or whoever is the
Yep.
main element in having these kids. I'm like, damn right. So I gotta give credit. I don't know. Obviously, I'm biased. I really loved the one with Michael Jordan because we know him.
Yep.
Love
Oh, you
that.
do? Okay.
I mean,
Unreal
I
awesome.
love like all of your guys'. Like, there's some that I just like connect to. You guys had an episode where you guys were talking about a hype circle.
Yes, with Mary LaVore.
With Mary LaVore.
With
Okay.
a beer bottle in the
Yes,
middle.
okay,
Yeah.
because and you said that you guys are vibe starters or something.
Yep.
Amplifiers.
Vibe amplifiers. That is so funny. I think that you need to make T-shirts with that, like hashtag
Slogan.
that,
Okay.
or like hype circle. I was crying. I just like couldn't relate more to that. I'm like, that is exactly what we do too. It's like, I heard that, felt connected. But I know I love all your guys' podcasts. I just like how you guys look at the word influencer too, and you were mentioning like a doctor is an influencer, you're librarian. I don't know. You didn't say librarian. I just came up with that. But
Yeah. But they are influencers.
They certainly are. Let's give them some credit.
Absolutely.
But, like,
Credit's earned there.
but yeah, everyone's an influencer. Just because you post 50% off these dad shoes on your Instagram, like that's an influencer. But there's so many different ways. I just like love how you guys unpack that word. That's
Thank you.
brilliant. Yeah.
Just trying to redefine it all, I guess, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
all through authenticity. What I want to know, kind of get your 2 cents on, is how much it's made you like more self-aware, and how doing something that you're passionate about, or like just putting some headspace towards like you guys keep calling it your hobby,
Yeah.
and you have like your intentions behind it. How have you like seen yourself grow, or how have you seen just kind of your life change, or how you look at life, your perspective? How has that changed through doing now 18 weeks of a podcast?
Wow, that is such a solid question. I think it definitely taught me how to publicly speak a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I feel we try not to say like and Of course it happens.
Oh, I say
all
all
the time.
day
Oh
long.
my
all
God.
the time.
It's so brutal, but it's really tried to help me connect to others too, try and think of ways to find my stories and connect them with other people. I don't know. I just think that just being more social, I suppose.
Yeah, being more social and relatable, like wanting to talk about things that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
Just like having that common ground with people. And yeah, public speaking. I say like, and I'm like, I stutter so bad. Ew.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when we hear ourselves talk, I'm like, yuck. But so I
Yeah.
think it just, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is just like having a
Yeah.
story that people can relate to.
Love that.
That's a great question too, and I love how you brought that up. For us, just real quickly, what's
We asked the
changed-
question so that we can answer
eventually
it
answer.
I
ourselves.
love
That's
it.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how we
Unbelievable.
that's how we flow. For us, and maybe you guys have already seen this, which would be really cool, is how your content, and you've already mentioned it already, but believing in your content that you don't have regrets putting it out there.
Yeah.
Because in today's age, when you have social media that's everywhere, you can easily have those regrets of like, oh damn, like now they're gonna know this about me, or maybe I said too much, and it's just literally Declan and I believing in ourselves, saying this is the best version of ourselves. Like we are
Yes.
not trying to be anyone that we're not. And if I said something wrong or something that offended you or
Yeah.
made me look bad or you look bad, I apologize. That wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
We
But
do a lot of
believing-
like wrong assumptions
wrong
on this
assumptions
podcast
all day
like,
long.
We're probably talking about stuff that's like not even true the majority of the time, but just pretty much all we know. So
Yeah.
we
try our
we're gonna
best.
put it out there. And
But believing in the content
Yeah.
that you're putting out there is for the betterment of whatever you're trying to get after, I think is something that has really been a cool experience to be a part of.
That's such a
Yeah.
good point. Like you have to stand behind what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
you can't just like half-ass it. And like we've had people like send things in or say like I don't agree with that or like whatever, and that's great. Like I'm glad you have your opinion and that you found something in ours that like sparked something in
Right.
you. I don't know,
Mhm.
but it is to say like when you do get like negative. Not that we get flooded with negative stuff. I'm just everybody has an opinion, right? And they want to like
Yeah.
make sure you know their opinion, whether it's
Yeah.
good or bad. So
Yeah.
I remember the first time we got like a 1-star on Spot or on iTunes. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I
Lauren
was so sad.
screenshot it to me. She's like, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "No," but now I see it. I'm at work, and now thanks
best.
for
Thanks,
yeah.
Lauren.
At first,
Yeah.
it was
Did they
kind
leave a comment underneath?
No.
Nothing.
Ah, damn.
We
And-
got
yeah.
one. Our first 1-star. Their comment was, "Eh."
Oh, so it's
Okay.
like okay,
Yeah.
I would take that and be
It's
fine
like a
with
3, I
that.
think, right?
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
It's 3.
But
Yeah.
if it's one
Come on.
star, like I really want to know why it was bad.
I know.
Same,
At least tell
same.
me.
Show yourself, seriously.
Show yourself.
But it's like I respect it. It's like
Yeah.
you didn't like, and you're like, not so much. But now I don't care. I'm like,
Right.
that's great. You have your opinion, and you're entitled. Like you should have an opinion.
Yeah.
That means you're listening. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It does
I
mean you're
love that.
listening.
You put some serious headspace. towards
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
I also think doing this whole podcast made me respect other people's hobbies more. I feel a lot of people rip on other people for doing like I don't know, songwriting.
T-shirts.
Yes. Or just blogging, or like that person's blog is so stupid. It's like they went out and created something while you're talking negatively about it. They're already winning. So I think it made me just appreciate what other people are doing more and like the time they put into it. And honestly, having a hobby is probably one of the most important things you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
And learning something new every day. Like that is one of my main goals in my life, is always to be learning something. I mean, this was a whole different experience for me. I didn't know anything about podcasting before I started this.
The day before.
Yeah. I didn't even know I was doing it.
No.
And all of a sudden Lauren's like, yep, we are. So I'm
like,
really
quit crying, we're gonna podcast. Like,
Yeah.
Love it. And
So
now you're the
excited.
audio engineer. Like
Yeah.
you're literally at the face of it.
yes,
That's a
here I am.
Phenomenal point. I love
Yeah.
that. Sweet.
So are you guys gonna get a camera soon?
Wow,
We
I think we
should.
need to. I think we need you guys to like come help us with this situation.
Yeah, I have a couple ideas. I'll our people will talk to your people after this podcast.
Oh,
we'll
wonderful.
get in touch.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, I love where you guys are going with it. It's super fun to like see other people in the space doing it, and that's why like I just wanted to make sure we got you guys on. We bought an entire and rigged a whole setup so we can get you guys on.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, it's funny because we're actually having twin brothers on in like 2 weeks.
oh my,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely.
Battle of Twins.
And they're
Yeah.
your guys' age. You might know them. Do you know the Brodskis? Ben and Sam Brodsky?
No,
No,
but
but
let's meet. Like,
I
let's
like that
hang out.
last name though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Brodsky?
So
It's actually pronounced Brodsky, but they
Brodsky?
they prefer Brod because it's
I didn't know
like
that.
bro.
Yeah, it sounds sick. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Brodsky.
Yeah.
They're photographers.
They're filmers and
Oh,
photographers, and
okay.
they like honestly they travel around the whole world and
Film,
grab content.
Wow.
Content
No, they're-
grabbers.
No, they're
professional content
serious.
grabbers.
They're they're good at what they do. It's fun.
They do like EDC and Lollapalooza and all
Wow.
this. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
sick. So we're plugging them early.
Yeah.
So go ahead and listen to that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And you'll hear at the end of the show where we ask the question we ask every single time. It's
Mm-hmm.
the average quality question. This is something you do well at times and other times not so well. At the end of the day, it's your average quality. So Lauren and Madison, who would like to go first? What is your average quality?
I will say mine first. I think my average quality is just like embracing being by myself. Sometimes I'm good at it and sometimes I'm really bad. Like for instance, like going somewhere alone can be kind of tough. I mean, for anybody, like socially it's tough walking somewhere alone, but always having Madison as like my backbone and knowing like, hey, I'm not going anywhere alone. So definitely average at that. Like I'm kind of like awkward at first. I'm like, oh my god, I don't have anyone to like chat with initially, or like someone to walk in with me. It's like, okay, what do I do? Like even coming to your guys' house, we're like, hey, do we ring the doorbell? Like do we knock on the door? It's always like tough like going somewhere alone. So I think my average quality is just being by myself. But sometimes I'll go in there and be totally fine. I'm like, I don't need Madison.
You guys,
But-
this is the worst because Lauren totally just said the one I was gonna say. So now my heart's beating. I'm like,
It's like trying to think of something.
I know. I'm
This
like,
is wild. So you guys are twins and have similar average qualities?
yeah,
Never
weird.
would have thought that.
Totally.
I'm trying to think of like one for you, but I don't think there's anything average.
Yeah, I think just
What a compliment.
I
yeah,
know.
wow. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was really nice.
It was touching.
It was touching. I think kind of the same thing. I mean, trying to like do things for myself and not for the both of us is kind of a hard thing because I'm always looking out for her, vice versa.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
it's like establishing my
Ooh.
own thing is just kind
Ooh.
of tough.
On
So-
top of that, though, like if someone likes Madison, like we'll get along. If someone doesn't like Madison, we're not gonna get along. Like
Mm.
We're
we
not
have,
tight,
we have.
Does that happen like from both sides? Does that happen?
Oh yeah, like we're an army together. Like it's
Okay.
like if you don't
Wow.
vibe, like that's fine. But like you're gonna get the brunt of both of
We're a
us.
force.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's hard.
So you guys like your guys' date reviews are very serious then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And friend group reviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we like this person? Or do they like you? Yeah.
You guys, I imagine you guys have like a whiteboard of the spreadsheet of all the dates that you guys have gone on
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
podcast, and you guys have like a
I'm
hit
thinking
list.
more like thumbnails with yarn. and
Yeah,
strap
yeah,
on.
like
Get this person.
tying like strings together, and then like different like verbiage type things. Like this guy was very passionate about this. Like this guy was kind of like a bump on the log. Like
Yeah.
this guy is super fit. This guy's not. You know,
Yeah.
these are all things like we have to
Yeah.
evaluate here.
You guys are we have a whole new process now we're going to go through. You guys just
Yeah.
inspired me. I'm like, this is like a police investigation you're going through.
Yes.
right
Essentially-
Yeah. It sounds like it.
I love the yarn. So crafty.
But honestly, it's like I cannot, let alone date somebody or be friends with somebody who like doesn't like my sister or is like
No,
mean
yeah.
or like weird. Like that would not vibe. Like that's
No.
not gonna
No.
be a
Mhm.
thing.
yeah,
No,
that's not going to happen.
dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, good work. So on the flip side though, and you touched on it a little bit,
Yeah.
was what's in your back pocket. So this is when pressure becomes stress, anxiety's rising. you're in a tough situation, what kind of like quality or thing do you rely on that's in your back pocket that you use to come out on top?
So I think this might sound cheesy or might be
It's
kind
not
of tough.
cheesy.
It's not
Okay.
cheesy.
No.
Don't
think
say
it-
that.
Okay, so it's not cheesy, you guys. This is my answer. So my answer is I think I'm always looking out for like future me and what I'm going to say to my kid one day when they're in the situation.
Legacy.
Yes, legacy. That's a good word to sum it up. What I'm going to say to them when they're in a situation like I'm in right now, like how am I going to be the best version of myself to teach them someday? Because like you can take a situation and just react to it so negatively, or you can just fall apart. But it's like more important how you step up. And I want to be able to tell somebody that like this is what your mother did and how she got through.
And
So
they
that's
can
like
listen
the
to
one
it.
thing.
Your
Yes.
kids can listen to all your podcasts,
Yeah.
which is kind of a weird thing, but at the same time, his
Hella
dad,
stoked.
super stoked about it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like his dad brought it up because his dad has listened to every single one of our podcasts for the most part.
Oh, go
And
dad.
has
Yeah.
has
Rock on,
seen
John.
like us grow
Mhm.
and talk about like feedback or ideas. His dad will put us in a group text together, and then he'll just frickin' rip an email out to us over
Oh, I
text.
love
Yeah,
it.
let's get your dad a listener of Impromptu.
Impromptu,
Yes,
he'll be firing away
yeah.
reviews.
No, he'll
Yeah.
be listening. Trust me.
Mhm.
Right.
But it was cool because he was talking about how like he's really only listened to us. He doesn't see us on Instagram or anywhere else really. And he's like, I've just listened to you guys grow. And then now I'm thinking of that same like perspective, but like for my own kids, like they're gonna be able to see what their dad was doing and growing if they really put the time and effort towards it, of the most like transitional time in his life where he's trying to figure out like what he wants to do.
Yeah,
Just
it's
figuring out his genre, I guess is how I would call it.
it's a modern day photo album. Like we are so blessed that we have these memories that we can look back on, like especially because our podcast is about us. So it's like,
Yeah.
what did I do that one Saturday in June 2019?
Yeah,
and it's
that's
nice
awesome.
I can have that tangible, or it's not tangible, but it's just like evidence of myself, my voice, my
Right.
everything. So
Something that you would
completely.
forget otherwise, to be honest, because
Yeah.
we go through so much stuff within life now
Right.
that far too often kind of gets missed.
Mhm.
But now when we have like, I mean, social media, I guess, is one thing, and getting reminded of a Snapchat you took 4 years ago is another
But
thing.
in story form,
But
is
in
the
story
coolest thing.
form,
Yeah.
where you can share experiences through conversation.
Not Instagram stories.
Not
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah,
stories,
that's
but
right.
legitimate stories.
Yeah.
That's like a whole different perspective, and there's so much more detail there about
Mhm.
stuff that it really goes into like how your emotions were and how like everything down to
Whoa.
Yeah, what
the
Yeah.
point
What you were
of it.
going through at that point in your life,
Yeah.
like that month.
It's like,
you guys, we're
whoa.
getting so real.
We
right
are
now.
we're a
Way
deep
real.
podcast.
We're a deep
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, we've been tagged as that.
Yeah.
Lauren, what's in your back
Yeah.
pocket?
Mine, I guess, is pretty deep too. I think like just what motivates me is just like keeping the motivation going and just like keeping the momentum. I think like I don't want to look back and be like, okay, in my 20s I didn't do the things I wanted to do. Like that stresses me out. I think of my future me as well, not so much just like with my kids, but being like, did I fulfill everything I wanted to do? And so there's times where it's like work, podcasts, and we do a lot of like yoga at Core Power, and we did teacher training, and so things can get so overwhelming, and like a social life and like dating, all that stuff. But like I never want to look back and be like, I half-assed any of that. So like when I'm really stressed or like, I just want to like lay on my couch and not do anything, I start to remember like you have these like really short years to just like do you while you can, and like be
Yeah,
proud
well
of
said.
what you're doing, and like really stand behind everything. So I think like being my authentic, real, genuine, killing itself is like what
Killing
motivates
it.
me.
And challenging yourself every day.
Yeah.
Pushing
Love
yourself
that.
to go further. I love that.
I
That's
just want to
awesome.
look back and be like, I wasted my whole like year of being 25 not doing anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what's crazy too is like how fast a year goes by now when you're
It's
not in
scary.
school.
Even summer, it's like, oh my god, is it like it doesn't even feel like summer. It's just weird.
Well, we're
I
in
don't
kind of like a smaller room on the 3rd floor of a house.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
summer
Yeah.
in Minnesota, what
Mhm.
you'd think of. But
Totally.
it is. I love where you're going with that. It's super interesting to. You're basically just introducing like a new perspective. Like
Yeah.
there's so many different ways you can look at what you're doing. You can look at it poorly and dwell on that, or you can look on it as like positively as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's easy to do that, and you just got to be doing it in a different way.
Make
everybody
yourself
else.
proud. Make
Yeah.
you, yourself, everybody.
I got a question. So, are you guys are core power teachers now?
We went to the training.
Yeah.
So we, I mean, life gets so busy, right? I mean, we went to the training, and that was like a whole thing where we always feel like we need to be learning or doing something new. So it's just like, we like core power. Let's just be teachers someday. So like, let's.
It's that simple. Just make the make the move right away.
Yeah,
I love
of
that.
course,
That's
yeah.
how you attack every idea nowadays. When you run
Mhm.
like a podcast where it's like you got to turn it out,
Yeah.
and your ideas are becoming reality very fast.
Mhm.
Translate it to all life.
Yeah. Right. So we're not teaching right now. We're still enjoying the practice of it, but one day we'd love to do it. But right now we're focusing on the podcast and work and life and stuff. But
you guys got to come get some altar workouts in with us.
Oh, I
would love to do altar.
Have you done it yet?
I have, and I was
So
sore.
you did your free week?
No, so
Or did-
one of my friends is a teacher there, so I got to
Who is it?
who's your friend?
Nick Luciano.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love his music.
Yes. Oh
dude.
my god.
We saw him at the
shout out.
Grizz concert actually.
Yeah. That sounds like him. That's
Oh,
very
yeah.
authentic to who he is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
He's
But yeah, we should go. Let's do it.
No, it is the best workout ever.
Okay,
Andrew
let's
and
go
I
to
just-
his class together. We're all gonna go, but yeah, we need to start going. I remember I was sore for like 4 days after, like
Yeah.
genuinely sore, couldn't move.
You just like hold the wall to sit down. You just like drag yourself down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you?
So I row for meters and Declan
Okay.
rows for watts.
Yeah.
That row machine.
Oh god, fuck that row machine.
Yeah, you just-
I hated it. Everyone's
Yeah.
like busting ass, like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can hardly even move.
Oh my
I
god,
don't
I'm
even
so
remember.
glad you just knew what they were talking about. I was like, what did you just say?
I'm like, my eyes.
I did see you light up. I was like,
I felt her look at me like,
we're going there.
Yeah, like you better be answering this one. I have no idea.
honestly, I was just trying to move at that
Yeah.
point. I wasn't even trying to go for speed or something. I'm
Be a
like,
worm.
just
Yeah.
grab it and pull it and look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
For the love of God.
Yeah. We
Like-
just,
Fake it.
Yeah, Nick, we call him Lucy, but he would walk around and be like, Lauren, push-ups, all this stuff. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm
Yeah.
sore.
How vulnerable to have your name just called out too. Just wow.
oh yeah.
yeah.
Like,
The
Nick will call you out. Right
Nick will
away.
call you out. The owner, his name is Vinny. He was on our podcast not
Mhm.
too long ago, and he will in the middles of like tough parts of the workout, he'll just be like, "Do it for Decky,"
Oh my God.
and it's
so-
like, "Oh man, I'm getting called out for."
People are doing it for me now.
People are doing it for me now. I'm owning this workout now.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
lead everybody in rows.
Yeah,
you cannot slack off on that.
Or the
Everyone's
ski
ru-
machine.
Yeah.
I lead the ski machine. I will always make sure people.
Well, aren't you a
people are
skier?
wrong.
Don't you ski?
Yeah, I ski a lot.
Okay, I snowboard. I don't know how to ski at all. But
Snowboarding's fun though.
yeah, it just really hurts the tailbone after it's been. If it's like the first time of the season, it's like
Yeah,
yikes. Wow.
great. Yeah,
Mhm.
great point.
Mhm.
But yeah, you guys need to get a workout and all through at a whole week. We'll just go as many times as
Again,
possible.
Yeah.
this will be another opportunity for us to come back here and rehash the
And
author.
rehash it
Yeah,
on-
I feel
on the
like
back
this
end
needs
show.
to
It's a
be-
theme.
I know. Yes, this
Yeah.
needs to be
Yeah.
a theme,
Yeah.
reoccurring.
Yeah.
We need to know how
Ties-
your date went. Like, did
Yeah.
you introduce the podcast or did you not?
Yeah.
So, like, we need to know.
That's so
Yep,
funny.
man, that's something
Well,
we
yeah,
got to figure out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't even had it
Okay.
happen yet, which is great. Like you guys are getting all these dates from your podcast. Like I'm getting other people dates from my podcast. I'm
Yeah.
not seeing anything from it, which I would be kind of terrified. I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh man, you know a lot about me. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's like a test.
I
Mhm.
know. Do you pass? I
It's
don't
like when you hit forgot password on like the login screen and it gives you like the 3 security questions that you have to answer.
know.
Yes.
But that's just the date you're on because
Mhm.
they know the answers to those and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was such a good analogy. Wow.
sorry.
You
I'm,
explained dating for
Yeah.
podcasters right there. Like
Yeah.
everything makes sense.
That's all you gotta know.
yeah. Well, the reason I was able to do that kind of, I spent, I think I had like a 2 or 3 hour flight yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent half of it just writing one joke on passwords.
Wow.
On pass.
Well, and there it was. And it,
That's
it,
what
it
that was
popped
kind of
up.
it. Yeah, and that like if I brought it into conversation naturally.
Yeah.
I think.
There you go. It
Yeah,
slapped.
there you go.
It slapped. It slapped. Dude.
We use that
Great-
so much.
Great market
Certified
research.
slapper.
That's
Certified.
hilarious.
Blue check mark slapper.
How long is it gonna take you guys to get the blue check mark?
Oh, God.
We tried right away. And
I
I was like,
Googled it.
absolutely not. I'm like, tight. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
but-
I think
Yeah.
we like maybe tried to even apply for it and we're like, we're not gonna get this.
You can
We want
apply
to get
for
the
it?
swipe
Yeah.
up. We're like, we just link our shit
Yeah.
together. So
Sure.
Right.
You guys aren't gonna just pay for 10,000 followers right away?
oh God,
We are
that's
not. Yeah.
it's just one of those things that you see all those like robo accounts and it's just
You know how funny
Yeah.
that is though when someone it's so obvious that
You
someone
know.
does that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
well
What
because they get
doing?
like
Congrats.
10 likes on their pictures and they have 1,000 followers or like a million.
10,000.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, dude, what's
Like,
going
come
on?
on.
here?
We have so
Yeah.
many robo accounts that message us like, hi at Impromptwo Girls. Like, would you like 700,000 followers? It's like, that looks like
No.
a real legitimate
Yeah,
person.
sure.
Like, thanks.
Who's running DMs from you guys?
Oh, we kind of like see that's hard because like we get a lot of DMs when we're at work, and so if she opens it, then I never see it,
Yeah.
or vice versa. And if
That's
I'm like
happened to
opening
us.
it in a meeting, it's like then maybe we never see it, which is
Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah.
We gotta get better at that, and we are always improving. You know.
Always improving.
Always
Yeah.
Those are
improving.
the weird things you never know. You just
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm always curious. I want to see what it says. And then I'm like, okay, well, I don't have time to answer. I always want to give like a good answer. I don't want to like leave anyone unread or anything.
Yeah.
But do you guys ever get a lot of people like reaching out asking for you to talk about their poetry? We always get people that are like, can you talk about poetry?
I've
Poetry.
never seen that.
We
Lauren.
get emails that are like, hi, I like write poetry. Can you like have me on the show or read my poem? I'm like,
That's really cool.
yeah, we actually
should.
You should have a segment there.
Yeah, that's
I know, I'm not
there's something there, right?
I know there's something there,
You
but
could
I'm
find
just
the
like,
next,
I gotta.
Who's a good poet?
The thing is, we get multiple.
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar
Yeah.
Allan Poe, yeah.
I was trying to think of like that really.
Ruby Carr or whatever. What's her?
Shel Silverstein.
Yes, also
Oh.
yes.
How
That's
did I know that? That was good.
Yeah, you really just like popped off with that
Guys,
one.
you guys actually paid
That
attention in
slapped, dude.
literature. Yeah.
Certified slapped for sure. We should have a poetry segment.
Yeah.
That would be
Well, because
slam
you guys do.
Slam poetry.
No, you guys should
That's
do
improv.
where you have to write your own slam poetry.
a haiku, like
Yeah,
a haiku segment. Oh.
Well, because what you guys could do, because you have like you play your music and highlight
Mhm.
your music, you guys could literally do like a page of just all the stupid poems you guys have read or wrote,
we
Yeah.
should.
and then like have that as part of like a reoccurring thing at the
We
end of your podcast or
should.
something. I don't know.
We
suck
do
at
our
Silly.
Facebook memories right now too, because those are honestly just so brutal. That I look at those in the morning. I'm like, good God. Like,
do you guys ever use that feature on Facebook? Your Facebook memories, like what your status was 10 years ago?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't do a whole
notifies
lot of
me.
posts and
yeah.
stuff, so I'm like kind of a ghost.
Good
from
for
it.
you,
Wow.
honestly, because I look back and I'm like, that's so embarrassing. Why did I ever do that?
Mhm.
You.
we
I-
highlight that.
I was a Twitter guy, so if they
Oh.
did
Yeah,
Twitter memories,
Twitter.
yeah.
They don't really
I-
have Twitter memories. You have to go through a different app.
You
to-
can export your Twitter feed and look at all your old tweets on Excel. I've done it once.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Aw,
thousands
that-
and thousands because I was really
Mhm.
bored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Did
really
you
exposed
filter it?
yourself for being like a total nerd.
Yeah. Filtered.
kinda
Got
cool,
like
Yeah.
Control F, filter those, search through like
Yeah.
a little V lookup. When did I
Lauren is
talk
an
about this?
Excel genius, by the way. If
Yeah.
you ever need help, like Lauren really
Yeah.
knows her.
I'll
Yeah.
export. I'll send you my tweets and
Yeah,
you can filter them
I
out
will
for me.
categorize it for you. I'll be like, here are your top tweets.
Mhm.
Here's your tweets talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
send
can do
it my way.
pivot tables.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
g-
thing on
give
the
me all
things
the
that Andrew
pivots.
said within like between 2012 and 14.
Yeah.
That could get dicey.
A pie chart
Yeah.
of like the common words.
Yeah.
And phrases.
We're kind of just waiting. Like you guys are already resurfacing your old stuff. You know,
Mhm.
identifying it, bringing awareness to it right away, so
Mhm.
that no one does that for you.
That's kind of one
Yeah.
of
Is
our
that kind of
strategies,
like the
yeah.
two-edged sword that
Yeah.
you guys are
Yeah.
going for? See, I think we're attacking it totally opposite, where we
Mhm.
want someone to resurface something that I don't remember saying as a sophomore in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, this is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable.
Yes.
Like I'd
and then it
love.
blows up and
Yeah.
we become
I don't know if-
world star famous.
Yeah,
Yeah, we-
viral
yeah.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys get it. You got to do what
Yeah.
it takes to be,
Mhm.
notable around here. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
if that's kind of the route we're going with it, I don't know how that's gonna shake out.
I
though.
mean, ours are just so embarrassing that it's like almost better if I address it first. Then it's less
Mm.
embarrassing if I acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
I want you to know that I know it's embarrassing.
Right.
So
Oh,
like, here's
okay.
me
Yeah.
acknowing like, yeah, that's embarrassing. Let's move on.
Yeah, you guys are covering your tracks.
Yeah.
More so. Yeah, that's
not even
smart.
Strategy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Very
Strategy.
very
Yeah.
strategic.
It's not that we're like embarrassed, but I'm all about like owning stuff right away. I'm like, yeah, I'm acknowledging this. Like the black guy, full circle here, because I'm like, yeah, I have a black eye. Let's go to Mac and get this thing covered up. So
Oh, yeah.
Because,
when I accidentally punched. her in the
accidentally
face.
punched me in the face,
Got
but
it.
I still don't think it was accidentally. It seems like it
The
doesn't.
world may never know what the intention of that was, but
I can't even believe we brought that up.
I know.
God, that sucks. That got brought up.
right
Yeah.
off the bat too.
Hey, the world knows now.
Yeah.
It's out there. You guys cool with
Mhm.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, oh,
lots
yeah,
of
here
people
we go.
listening
Lots of people
that
listen.
could bring this up at a date later.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
it was a one-time thing, everyone. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I just really hope that someone asks you on a date now and they'll be like, "Yeah, I listened to your podcast with the back pocket," and you'll be like, "God damn it, that's the one I didn't want to
Yeah.
listen to."
Yeah.
I spilled all the beans on that podcast.
They're all scared of Madison. They're like, Madison's gonna punch me in the face.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I seem like super intimidating.
No,
Actually
God,
not.
no.
Whatever.
That was a fluke. There was a fluke in the system. That's actually
Like that's true. Whatever.
It's hey, the world's now gonna know what or who you're gonna challenge us with. So the next question is, I was trying to figure out the segue. You
Yes,
totally.
yes,
I had a
yes.
segue earlier, and you just fucking you talked over me, and I was pissed.
That's
on
what
purpose,
happens with
dude.
Lauren and I
Yeah.
too.
I
Yeah.
was like, God, it
You
was
guys
gonna
should've
crush
seen-
the segue. And
I know
was
you
about to
had it.
punch
You-
him in the face.
It was too quick though. It was like you literally went back pocket, and then you're like, I mean, it was such a tee up challenge thing. I was like,
No,
okay,
no,
but
no.
I really want to
No,
talk.
that was
That was way before.
this was like 10 seconds ago when I
Oh.
first said the world's gonna know that you challenged us.
Oh, shit.
I
didn't pick up on that one.
Circling all back in.
Okay.
It's all good. I'm the transitions guy, so I always have to sweat.
Yeah.
She does that. She does that for
It
us.
is an important role, and this man will talk for hours, and we'll
Yeah.
be
We
here
can
for 2.5
relate over
hours.
here.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a blessing
right now.
curse.
Just thinking about the next transition.
Me too. I'm sweating for you. I'm like, get to it. Like, let's transition.
I can help you out.
No,
Andrew, we got to really
Stop cutting me off.
Okay, you got the floor.
All right, it's a challenge question.
Yeah.
Who do you want us to have on the show? It could be an extreme guest. It could be someone that's your best friend. We would love a challenge.
Okay.
Our friend.
I'm gonna say like not to be like weird like Madison's boyfriend, but Madison's boyfriend I think y'all should have on the show because he is from here, plays hockey, played for the Gophers, and now is playing in the KHL in was it Latvia or Latvia? Latvia. Is that how it's pronounced? Latvia. And he's just like killing it in the KHL. He'd be really fun to talk to, and he's like so outgoing and funny and like keeps you on your toes and just like good human from
dude.
here. So like
And hockey always hits home, and when we're trying to dominate the sandbox.
Yes, absolutely. So you guys definitely you'll have to connect with you guys with
and
him.
his name?
Ben Marshall.
Ben Marshall.
Number what? 32 is he?
And number
yesterday I was working. Yes, number one in our hearts. I worked from home yesterday morning and watched his game from Latvia or who I don't even know who they were playing, but
What does the K in KHL stand for?
Oh, I'm exposed right now because
he's
I
gonna be
should
so
know
pissed.
this. I should know this. I think
Come on,
it's
Ty.
Continental with a K.
yeah, look it up. I don't know.
Continental Hockey
Wild
League.
guest.
I'm sweating
K?
now. Like,
Continental
whoa,
with
let's
a
look
K?
this up.
Oh, he's gonna be pissed.
Woo!
There you
Yes.
go.
Good
Oh, shit.
girlfriend award.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
tough, but
Yeah.
we made
Okay.
it through.
It's a great,
I
it's a
got
great
there.
challenge.
We got there.
He was so pumped, like, about us being on this. And the whole thing, he was like, yes, everybody, that's a good sneeze. Oh, my God. I can't even talk. It's a good scenario.
Very good scenario. We love it.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
Brett Marshall.
Ben.
You're mixing Brett Michaels,
Yeah,
which
now I know. Yeah.
he would be a legit guest as well. I
Okay,
mean,
challenge accepted on that end too.
go get
Yeah.
Brett Michaels, and I will fangirl. I will be like out this window. I used to be obsessed with Brett Michaels when I was in 8th grade because of Rock of Love, and I found out that he worked out at the gym in Vadnais Heights, Minnesota, and I cried.
When he was
'cause I
here
missed
for a
him.
show.
He was here for a show.
I was like, wow,
Lauren
this guy's
always-
local.
Yeah, Lauren always has to help me because like when I go in stories,
Wind it back.
I just do this.
You jumped a few steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lauren brings me back.
So
So
I'm like, he was here for a show at the Myth, and he worked out at the Vadnais Heights Gold's Gym. But anyways,
Shout out to the Myth.
yes, oh yeah,
Yeah.
shit
Right.
goes down. Anyways, Ben Marshall is who we
real deal.
challenge you.
Sweet.
with, Yeah.
for
Awesome.
sure.
Dude, it's so funny. Your guys' dynamic is like so much like ours. It's
Yeah.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so wild.
Mhm.
Blows my mind.
Mhm.
I'm the stupid ideas guy. He just brings you back to reality.
You're the transitions, the software engineer of sorts.
Mhm.
I resonate with you completely.
We
Yeah.
share those qualities, and it's
Yeah.
it's hard because you
Yeah.
have to be like strict, and it's like, well, I don't want to be
I
strict.
know.
Yeah.
I totally know. Like, I want to be the free flowing.
Yeah.
Like someone's got to
We
do
got
it.
Well, it's so funny because like if something, I'm better at it now, but if like we were having like a technical difficulty, I would just start talking about the technical difficulty, like, Ty, you got to figure it out over there on the camera, like blah blah blah. Andrew gets so mad. He's like, dude, just keep talking. It doesn't like we'll figure it out as it's going in the background. But I'm just like,
I don't
so
want to have to edit this out now.
I don't have to edit this out.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, Lauren will say something. I'm like, you're saying that you know I'm gonna have to edit that, so shut up. Like, I'm so annoyed. This is more for me to edit. Like,
Oh, speaking of challenges,
Mhm.
I challenge you guys to do a podcast totally unfiltered and just do one start to finish and tell me how you think about it.
yeah, that sounds great. Actually, the more we are doing this, the less we edit. We don't really edit what we say.
Oh yeah, we don't edit. We only edit if we are like completely like stumbling, like stuttering, or if something sounds weird,
Sure,
or
sure.
I don't know.
Well, for a while, my computer would like stop when my reminder of you have 0 storage left. Like, you got to delete your memories of your life now. Like,
Mhm.
to get through it.
Hold on,
yeah.
Google Photos. Have you figured that one out yet?
No. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you for
have.
that because
we'll work on that.
yeah.
Google
Yeah,
Photos, just
mhm.
load it all up there for free, pretty much, and then delete them all the originals.
The
So it's
more
all.
you
Yeah.
know.
And then it's crazy because Google Photos has everything timestamped. So instead of scrolling through your feed and just like scrolling until you find the right picture,
Mhm.
you can scroll to the date of when you think it was. I have like stuff backlogged to 2010 now.
That's
That's
stellar.
nice.
That's even better
Yeah.
than Facebook memories.
I mean, for the record, like, we don't actually cut out anything. Like, we're pretty organic on there. Like, if we say something, it's gonna be on the episode. We'll
Yeah.
only
Alright,
we'll
cool,
only
cool.
tweak like weird long pauses or just like
Yeah.
weird scenarios.
Quick stuff.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing, honestly, that happened to us where we were attacking it very similarly, where we would record like for an hour and a half or something and trim it down to 45 minutes.
Mhm.
And he was spending like Andrew spent like 6 hours trying to
cut out the ums. Like, why was I doing that?
I know.
Crazy.
They're fine. The ums are fine. It's like an actual conversation. If you take them out, it doesn't feel right anymore.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Well, and then that's what happened was like Andrew's getting pissed about it, spending all this time. We have no idea what we're doing. Like, what are employers going to think about us talking about knucklehead stuff?
Yeah.
So after 6 weeks of starting this podcast 2 years ago, we were thinking of just like bagging it because it just didn't make any sense. There wasn't a lot of value there.
Yeah.
But then we were just, all right, let's just record totally unabridged and just go at it.
Put that out there.
What do your employers think? Has anyone ever said anything? Because that was another question I had for you guys. Like,
so this is the time of the podcast where we open up, no joke, like that we finish with, you guys ask us any questions. We've hammered you with questions.
Yeah, because we've done a good job asking you questions, and this has been a really good podcast. So we wanted to congratulate ourselves and then open the door for you guys to ask us questions.
So I love in the transition vibes that you and I are giving off. Because I was about to ask you a question. I was about to say, have you guys ever had a point where you almost gave up on it? So you said like 6 weeks in, you were like not really finding your vibe. Like, do you feel your employers ever have sketchy views of you now because of the things you say? How do you feel about all of that?
It's been me twice. This man is the backbone of the Back Pocket. He's the one that was the Kickstarter from it, and he saw me out and was like, hey, you want to do this? And I was like, let's do it. And then that first time was 6 weeks in. I was like, this is too much. I'm not having fun. This is something that we're wanting, or we have to do versus something I want to do. And then let's see, maybe it was like 2 years, a year and a half later, Mark and I, there was a similar point of like, I was just too stressed. I wanted to call it. And he was like, no, just give me another week. Give me another 2 weeks and we'll figure the next step out. This man just was like, hey, we'll figure it out.
Well, because I just saw the value of like the thrill of like recording. I just thought it was so fun, and so that's why I saw value for it right away. But it was the time and like the stupidity that we went about it was just killing him, because I wasn't editing anything. Like, I was like,
he was having all the fun.
You got
Sounds
your laptop.
like us.
You got your laptop.
Like,
I got my freaking social media that I'm posting on, like getting my crowd reaction right away, and Andrew's like in the behind the scenes editing it all up and probably just hating the sound of our voices. And then so that was why I like just flipped it on its head and said, all right, let's just have fun together, record this thing. I'm going to start helping out here and there. Now, we were just talking about it the other day, like we're, 20, by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be like 25 weeks in season 3.
Of season 3, yeah.
And it doesn't even seem like we've done that much. We're in such a routine of how we turn these things out.
75 episodes.
That's like 75 episodes, and compared to last year when we were doing 2 even at that time, we were killing ourselves last year.
Yeah.
We were in just shambles by December 18th, dude. We
needed a break.
Yeah, we needed a big time break. But now we just totally flipped it on its head in terms of like when we book guests, how we produce it, just to focus on little things, and it's made everything so much more enjoyable.
And as you can tell, when we get to talk podcast, we have the time.
We just love it.
So this has been incredible. Yeah.
I agree. We have the same feeling about it too. So it's nice, like, nerd out on some of this
stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see where you guys go with it too. Like, I got tons of ideas for production that you guys can freaking amplify.
We need that for sure. And when we get
it.
Another mic or 2, you guys have to be on ours. We are
so
still.
Is that where you want to go with it? You want to start interviewing other people?
We'll bring our mics over.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Yeah. We're traveling.
Problem solved. Honestly, we want to like have people not so much like even like interview style, just to like banter back and forth. Like we want to have our brother on there. We just have a matter of like getting another mic. But
I know it's tough.
So older or younger brother?
Older.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So it's the 3 of us.
Have you guys ever gone to Poorhouse and seen some shitty cover band?
I'm not a big
Like,
Poorhouse guy.
Is
this Poorhouse in Uptown or the
No,
one
like
There's
downtown.
2.
Okay.
I think I've seen maybe like 1.
Okay, well,
Johnny
that's...
Bananas was there a while ago. I was gonna go see him.
Yeah, we were gonna go check
All
out
right,
Johnny
do not
Bananas.
know what that is, but that's a wild name.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, we are
MTV's The
going.
Challenge?
We'll go to some shitty cover band. That's the
Okay.
name. I'm not just like.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't me. Oh God, I should.
Wait, you
clarify.
guys, wow, back up. So you just thought that Lauren was just calling our brother like he just plays in some shitty ass.
No, I thought she was
lame. Like.
Yeah, I thought you were going with
Throw
like
him under the bus.
No, that's
Yeah.
the name. Okay, the name is some shitty cover band, and
Oh.
they're
I love
outrageous. I'm surprised you guys haven't gone or heard them, because like I think they're a pretty like big deal around in Minneapolis in terms of like.
Yeah.
it. Oh, they're a big deal. We were just
Cloudy.
under a rock.
You're under a rock. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest. So
Educate yourself.
we'll
like,
all go
next
together.
weekend.
Mhm.
We'll go together sometime.
Okay.
And we'll talk about an episode.
Guys, we have a lot of plans. We gotta
Yeah,
write this
we
all
got
down.
bingo. We got the
Well,
yeah.
We recorded it.
We
Yes,
recorded it.
true.
I'll go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Just, it'll be somewhere. Don't worry.
Wonderful.
We'll
Love it.
follow up soon.
Yeah, and we'll finish on this final note.
Yeah.
What did you learn today from the moment that you woke up to when we are having this conversation? We'll start with you, Madison.
Wow. Okay. So starting with me, I feel like I've learned a lot today. I mean, first of all, 40K. Wait, is that? Oh, 4K. 40K.
4K.
Clearly, you
4K,
haven't learned.
60
You're
years.
still learning it.
Yeah, that is the process of learning, Lauren.
Yeah.
So learned about that. I love it. I learned a lot more about podcasting, like things that I can take on to make ours better. This morning when we were at Kowalski's, we told you guys about that. That's our routine. Some girl and her mom were in a fight, and it reminded me, like, your parents are always right. You're learning every day that just, like, the older you get, the more
The
like,
mom
damn.
was so right.
The mom was so right. I was
Yeah.
like team mom all the way. The mom's POV was clear, concise. She had all of her points. Daughter was not clear.
hormonal, mad, all
So
that.
Yeah.
the more you learn just like how to be, I don't know, just learned a lot today. Podcasting, number one. That was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I
I
learned.
would agree. I think
Yeah.
the setup makes us look so bad. Like, because we just
say
lay
that.
on our
Don't
couch
say it.
with
Yeah.
our mics. That's true.
Yeah.
You guys have a really great setup.
So you're sitting
I'm
on the couch
inspired.
with mics.
That's awesome.
Here.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
Yeah.
we're
legitimately.
like holding our mics.
Like,
up
sometimes I'm
here.
like laying down. I'm like, this is probably why I sound so stuffy. But you guys have a good setup. I'm inspired. I'm for sure gonna like take after some of these things. I need to build these little setups.
We got a
Mic
guy.
mounts. We got a guy.
We got a
help.
You got a guy, okay? Because
Yeah.
picture us trying to do that. That'd be
Yeah.
bad, but
Picture us trying to do that.
Yeah. You should, it took us a while to like find the studs in the walls.
Been destroyed. Yeah, whatever.
That one, yeah. And that, but our nice
Your point.
stained mount.
looks beautiful. I love it.
I want to sign it. I just want to write my
Ooh,
name
we
on
should
that.
do
Yes.
that.
Oh.
Can we be the
We'll start
first to
that,
sign
yeah.
something?
Yeah, I got some
Should we
Sharpies.
Sick.
All right, let's do it.
You
All
heard it
right.
here first. Impromptu
Yeah.
girls were number one
Oh yeah,
in the signage.
yeah.
And you're going to become number one on the charts. go ahead and subscribe. Impromptu Girls on Apple
Yes.
Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and all
Yes.
available podcast platforms. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Well, I've been hanging on the west coast in my heart, right where I'm meant to from the start. It's so much warmer than the secrets you've been holding in. And don't you look at me sideways with those eyes.